The risk group for developing severe COVID infections are those with comorbid illness like long-standing diabetes, hypertension, those with previous cardiac history, and people with immunosuppressed state, and people with previous respiratory illness like reactive airway disease, those who are on inhalers, and those people who are immunosuppressed like people with cancers and who are on cytotoxic and other long-standing medications.
As per the literature and observation and from the samples which have been collected from the various states which have been affected, there are multiple variants in India also. We used to hear about the UK variant, South African variant, American variant and all until now. But the thing is now India also have multiple variants. Present we have some 2 to 3 strains other than the UK, South African strain and all. These strains are B1618 and B1617 and the triple mutant gene. Okay, so the thing B1617 is commonly observed in Gujarat, Maharashtra and these places. This is the most virulent, highly transmissible, and it can affect even the middle age and younger people also. Surprisingly, even these young people will present with severe COVID pneumonias and other organ involvement. They deteriorate very fast, and there is a concern that it can even escape the native immunity.
At present, for the diagnosis of COVID-19, we have RT-PCR test which is very specific. Also in few cases, we can use rapid antigen test. For the diagnosis of the lung involvement, we can do a CT scan which will show the involvement of the lungs in COVID-19 infections. In the second wave particularly, we are seeing that patients are presenting differently compared to the first time. Nowadays, patients without any respiratory symptoms and those presenting only with a fever, body pain are also becoming positive. I have seen cases where the patient presented with only rash or acute gastroenteritis also being positive for COVID-19. So, if you have any fever, body pain or even headache, please go and get tested yourself.
So there are different technologies being used for to produce the vaccines. In India, we have Covishield vaccine, which is a live vaccine where a spike protein of COVID coronavirus is being tagged on to chimpanzee adenovirus, and it is been it is being preserved and being given in 2 doses actually at an interval of 6 to 8 weeks. The other one is Covaxin, which is a whole virus, which is attenuated virus, where the virus is gone through a process where it's the dead form of virus is being exposed to the body, and even it is given in 2 doses at an interval of 4 to 8 weeks. In other countries like in America, there are 2 vaccines, Pfizer and Moderna vaccine. Both are prepared with mRNA technology, and even that is given in 2 doses actually. And one more prepared by Johnson & Johnson, it follows the similar technology as of our Covishield. That's also given in 2 doses with an interval of 4 to 8 weeks. Once a patient gets infected with COVID coronavirus, they definitely develop some degree of immunity, like some antibody production will be there. The severe the illness, the more the antibody production, longer the duration of its protection. But whenever there is a new strain or new mutation among coronavirus infections, we may not be 100% protective, but still it would reduce the severity of the illness. Though across the world we have several millions of people being affected across the world, but the degree of reinfection is still much less. So it's to put it in terms of percentages, it's less than 5% chance of reinfection.
See, COVID-19 symptoms are more like flu-like symptoms. It's morely fever, cough, cold. See, these are the most presenting symptoms what we are seeing in kids now. So in case if the symptoms matches more like the flu-like symptoms and there are persons in the family members who are positive or having the same symptoms, better to get tested so that you don't spread it to others, and speak to your pediatrician regarding these symptoms. Most of the kids are doing much better compared to adults. What they require is more of supportive treatment like paracetamol, steam, gargling if they can do. Only if they're having high fever spikes, then we think of antibiotics. And again, as the symptom worsens, then they may require hospitalization. But 95% of kids are doing well at home with just minimal supportive treatment. So right now the vaccination not there for kids as of now. Whatever the test has been done now, studies has been done, it's above 18-year-olds. Yes, there are few tests happening. A few companies are doing in from 12 to 18 years, but as of now results are not available. Coming to the next question, how can we prevent it? Yes, even if you have any symptoms like mild running nose, cough, cold, please do wear your mask. Even if it's not COVID, these are flu-like symptoms. Take care of the hand hygiene, especially common touching points like button switches, lifts and all these things. Make sure you do hand sanitize very frequently. And for kids also, about 2 years, whenever you're going outside, make them wear mask. This will prevent them from getting infection. So less than 2-year-old, yes, as of now masks are, they will not even wear it. What I'll usually advise to my patients is at least cover them with some veil or a dupatta.
Yeah, patients who are recovering or recovered from COVID can undergo surgeries, but they will need to be a little careful about any surgery that affects where the lung is an important organ for recovery from the surgery. So cardiac surgery, for example, is one of the surgeries where the lung is a very important organ for recovery. And the second thing is their immunity, like all other viral infections, their immunity also can be down. So that's another thing that they need to be careful about. And thirdly, of course, we know that the active COVID status can be thrombogenic. So during the active stage, if they need to undergo any emergency vascular surgeries, there is a possibility that there can be a thrombotic event. So usually, unless it's a dire emergency, no surgery is done in the active phase, and all elective surgeries can be done about once they become COVID negative. So COVID causes fibrosis of the lungs, and what this means is the lung tissue gets destroyed, and it's destroyed permanently. It kind of, the parts of the lung which are affected, which the COVID pneumonia involves, they kind of get crumbled. They don't expand like the normal lung anymore. And depending on how extensive the fibrosis is, the patient can have some permanent disability because of that. So if 50% of your lung is affected, then you can be permanently disabled in the sense that you will be breathless. How it affects the heart? It can affect the heart in varied ways. We all know in the previous COVID wave that there was a higher incidence of acute thrombosis of the coronary arteries. That is thrombus forming inside the coronary arteries de novo by itself. And then any age group, any person with any kind of risk factors could develop a heart attack. It can also affect the muscle. So you have myocarditis. Then the muscle can get, and in COVID, post-COVID infection, everything heals with fibrosis. So you find that if the muscle is affected, the muscle is also fibrosing. And
given the sharp surge of COVID cases across the country that have consumed most of the hospitals up to their maximum capacities, vigil participation of patients in the treatment process and diagnosis process is most crucial in ensuring fast recoveries and also in preventing further spread of the infection. Hospital beds really at this time are needed for sick patients with severe health conditions and deteriorating conditions, and hence patients with mild to moderate COVID symptoms or positive patients who are asymptomatic can make use of our home quarantine package, wherein they can get treated at their home using the expert advice and consultation and monitoring of our doctors and nurses regularly. These home quarantine packages are also designed for patients who want to go through an assessment and diagnosis first by a doctor and then only go to a hospital for admission or go to a hospital emergency ward for triaging for admission. In our home quarantine package, we offer an initial teleconsultation for diagnosis and assessment by our doctor, followed by regular video consultations by a senior doctor, daily monitoring of vitals and counseling by a senior nurse, counseling and consultation by a dietitian, psychologist if needed, and also initial guidance on basics of home isolation, home sanitization and hygiene to be followed when at recovery at home. We are also running home quarantine care package for children who are infected by COVID-19 during the second surge of the virus, wherein pediatric consultations are included over and above the rest of the package components. And we also do home physiotherapy, home medicine delivery and home blood sample collection for patients across our catchment. In our hospital, we meticulously follow all WHO guidelines of COVID safety precautions, namely wearing of masks at all times, sanitization and disinfection of all public areas and touch points and outpatient areas, as well as keeping appropriate social distancing at all times. We also have a flu clinic which is just outside our hospital building, where patients with flu-like symptoms are assessed and triaged first before they enter the hospital building, and their COVID RT-PCR testing can also be done if necessary. We also have segregated negative pressure floors inside our hospital building where COVID patients are admitted and treated. These floors have separate air ventilation, air circulation cut off from the rest of the building. We have also deployed a separate team of clinical staff of nurses and doctors to look after these COVID patients. We have similar segregated areas in our ICUs and ORs as well to look after COVID patients and to keep them completely segregated from non-COVID areas. Besides this, we are scrupulous with cleaning and disinfection of all our inpatient and outpatient areas, and we have also ensured that all our staff, nurses and doctors have been vaccinated. Vaccination will be key in ensuring that we all achieve herd immunity as a society and are able to tide over this pandemic. From the 1st of March in our hospital, we have vaccinated more than 3,000 patients so far from our community, and we urge each and every person to get enrolled for vaccination and get vaccinated from 1st of May when the eligibility opens for all adults.